Welcome to the Builders of Authority podcast, a show committed to helping you build authority for your brand. In the realm of business and personal branding, authority stands as a cornerstone. Authority isn't built overnight, it's built over time. So join us as we build something remarkable together. And now, here's your host, Adam McChesney.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? We're live here at Adventure Unknown with another episode of the Builders of Authority podcast. As always, if you haven't been out to Adventure Unknown, you're here in St. Louis or the surrounding area, or maybe you're just in town, want to see where we host the podcast, want to see what Adventure Unknown is all about. Been a member here for a little over a year. It's been incredible for both my life and my business, just meeting some amazing people. The amenities are incredible and continue to grow and scale as we get more members. So send me a message. Would love the opportunity to have you up here for a visit, show you around, and you get to see everything that we have going on here with Punchline Productions, who makes the podcast happen each and every single week. Today, I'm joined by another repeat guest of the show. His first episode on the show was under our old brand, the Entrepreneur podcast that we previously had. That episode went live nearly 2 years ago and is still one of the top 10 most watched episodes on YouTube of all time, which is awesome. My guest today is Todd Liscombe. He owns a tree service here in St. Charles, Missouri. Storage facilities, even a go-kart track now, a lot of different stuff that he has going on. Over the years, Todd and I have done business together on many fronts. We do his SEO and his Google Ads stuff right now. Happy to call him a friend and happy to have him in my corner. So Todd, welcome back to the show, man.
Thanks, brother. Thank you.
It's crazy that it was 2 years ago.
Yeah, man. 2 years flies, dude. Like flies.
Yeah, we first got connected 2020. So 5 years ago now, and a lot's changed.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. A lot has changed. I mean, lots still the same, but a lot's changed. You know, I think just the how we attack a business, how we approach life, and how we're just all doing the thing. You know, what we've learned, what we talked about before we got live here about just, you know, things you learn on social media that look shiny and sexy, and they turn out they're not really that. So you just got to be careful about who, you know, you're following, watching, and trying to be like. You know, that's what I've learned in the last couple of years. So.
Yeah, so let's dive into that, because obviously I know in the last episode we talked a lot about, we can touch on it, kind of everything you have going on. But from the entrepreneurial standpoint, right, I think you and I are both at the phase where we're like, hey, like, futuristic, where's this stuff going? How do I become that next version of myself? And maybe we don't obviously know that. We're kind of going through that. But what are some of the things you've learned specifically over maybe the past couple of years where you're like, hey, there's something bigger out there? I've learned through failure and heartache and all those different things and expensive lessons. But what are some of those things that have kind of hit home for you?
Run your own race, man. Like, dude, this social media world that we're all consumed by every single day, you know, the shiny object syndrome, you know, the sexy stuff that's here and there, the coaching businesses, you know, just everything that goes on, you know, is like everyone wanted to be in MLMs, and next thing you know, you see all those falling apart, and just all these people bragging on wholesaling real estate is one that, like, trust me, I spent money on, got coached. I was like, this sucks, dude. I don't sit behind a computer, you know? So, I'd say really, man, just figuring out who we are, figuring out the lane we want to be, you know, if it's podcasting, if it's trees, if it's speaking. And for me, I think it's just been, you know, money, business, all that stuff's cool, dude. That's what we're all doing it for. But it's like, at the end of the day, the burnout, the stress, the anxiety is something that I've started to really take control over, and not let me be not let the business own me, but me own the business. You know what I mean? And so, like, for myself, man, just like, I've got a 13-year-old and a 3-year-old. So, like, you know, my 13-year-old was young, man. I was grinding 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. It was sun up, sun down. That's what it was to get to this point. And now that I've got a younger daughter, you know, I never took the oldest one to school all the time, you know, didn't have that time, you know, because I was so busy focusing. And now, you know, more than anything, it's like, you know, I usually get my kids every day. I try and bring them to school. Awesome. I don't worry about all this stuff. I don't worry about every meeting. I rely a lot on my team that I used to not do and thought I had to be at everything every time. And that's exhausting. So, man, I think it's just figuring out that we're on this is a long road, dude. Like, it doesn't all have to be done between this stop sign and this stop sign. And, you know, you can stop and take a break whenever you want.
Yeah. Was there like a specific moment where that shifted for you with the mindset? Because I know, like, for me, it's been growing the team now second time. and just saying, hey, you know, like I have to let go. Was there a specific moment where you were like, hey, you know, you can be involved, but you have the team that you're paying and that's what they're supposed to be doing, to you just be say, hey, like it's going to work out?
I think that, you know, anybody that's listening to this, like, you know, you do a lot of lead gen, right? So anybody that's in the that's relying on lead gen all the time, blue collar service, whatever else, man, there's going to be times like in business where you're going to stress your balls off to bottom line about, do we not have business? The lead flow is low, and you're like, oh my God, payroll stacking, credit cards are stacking, dude. Like, how am I going to pay this $50,000 that I owe in 2 days? I have no leads coming, and next thing you know, boom, you get just a storm of leads. You know, it never ends, man. It's highs and lows, and like I think if you just start to enjoy, like I got chills when I said that, because I think as you're going high, man, like sometimes all we're doing is expecting like, where's that next low coming from?
Dude, it's the worst feeling.
It's the worst feeling. But like when you go to Six Flags and you go ride that roller coaster, dude, the lows are where you get that belly feeling and that fun, that giddy feeling, you know? Yeah. So you got to I've learned to kind of take the good and the bad with that, and just believe, trust the universe that it's going to work out, man. Like you know, anything that we say we want and we put out there, it's coming. Give it time. And so is there a specific point? Is there a specific thing that happened that is? No, I think it's just a maturity in business. You know what I mean? Of just like, all right, listen, I know I got this. We've been in business for a decade. Most people don't ever hit it. We're multi 7 figures in business. Most people don't ever care about that. And for me, it was just, man, just enjoy some life. You know what I mean? Stop stressing. Stop comparing yourself to every podcast that you listen to, and just like run your own race, man. Like run your own race. If I want to get up in the morning and go flying before I go work, that's what I'm doing. And before, I'd have a gut feeling of like, I can't do this. And it's just releasing and trusting, I think is what it is. Because
that's kind of the stage where I'm at. Obviously different period where I'm like, hey, we been relaunched now for almost a year. We're still in build. Well, a lot's happened in a very short period of time, where it's like I felt like I had to make up some of those years that I lost. I had to go rebuild. I had to go do all that stuff. But I have that gut feeling sometimes where I'm like, man, you know, like one of my clients messaged me this morning. I'm going to Nicaragua on Saturday, and I'm just trying to play catch up, right? So I'm trying to not play catch up, but get ahead, right? Yeah. And so my schedule for the most part is completely cleared next week, which is awesome. I get to spend time with the team, train them, et cetera. And I sent him a message late last night, and I sent him a message early this morning because we're doing a rebrand for him on a couple different things. And then I said, hey, I got these, you know, he's got a roofing company in Kansas City. He's got 10 sales reps. And he's like, man, like one of my guys looks up to you a bunch. He's like, can you do a training for our sales team when you get back? I'm like, sure, like we'll schedule a Zoom or whatever. And he literally goes, dude, when do you sleep? When do you do stuff for yourself? I have the same question for you. And I'm like sitting there, I'm like, you know, shit, like I have these moments or these weeks that turn into months that sometimes turn into seasons where it's like, man, like I still do eat healthy, work out, do all this stuff, but I usually will do it whenever it fits into my schedule, not me prioritizing that. And so now I'm trying to get to that moment, especially with the little ones. So Murphy's almost 2, is like, how do I get back to that place and not have that feeling? So selfishly, that's why I asked you that question of like, you know, obviously working through that to be able to say like, you know what, I need to do this for myself. Yeah, dude. And the funniest part is too, so I was having a conversation with my wife about this. I said, like, our business has never been more profitable. I've never had this many good clients and good team members. There's more money in the bank that we've ever had in the business to be just fine. But for some reason, I still have that mindset because it's been so fresh of like a year ago, it was depleted. A year ago, I was having to rebuild and go do all those things. So I think it's a good thing and a bad thing that I'm not going to that place of like, hey, I'm just going to go spend all the money and I'm going to go do all the flashy shit and I'm going to do all that stuff. You learn, but it's an evolution. Well, I agree on that. I don't know when the hell you sleep. Yeah. My wife and I talk about it. I'm like, Adam's got an AI robot that already works for him. I don't know how the hell the guy does it. I wish. You know, but dude, I mean, watching your whole thing, man, like 2 years ago, you know, anybody's familiar with you, you know, they know what you've gone through and everything else, where you're at, what you built, and whatever. They probably don't know all the details, but I did have a front row seat. I remember us out on my boat. We went out on a lunch day one time on my boat a couple years ago, and you were like, "Yeah, dude, I'm joining up with this, blah blah blah." And it was interesting to see, you know, as we were talking about a roller coaster, to see you go up, and it was like, oh
boy, it went down. You know what I mean? I don't think there was a good gut feeling there, a giddy feeling. So, dude, I mean, kudos to you, brother. Like, proud of you, watching you build, you know, and in between that, like, people know, like, full transparency, you know, I worked with Adam a long time, and like there was a little hiccup there. I didn't feel as personable with what was happening, and we did leave. We went and tried a few different flavors, and they screwed it up, you know, and we're back with Adam, you know, couldn't be happier. So, you know, that stuff happens. Like, there's relationships that ebbs and flows, and so, like, you know, that's what I would say on that, man. But I mean, rebuilding, just, you know what to do, man. Like, you just, it's time. I think you can't cheat time. We all have the same amount of time. The team that you keep building is incredible. You know what I mean? So keep that stuff up. Profitability. What's the saying? Revenue, sanity, or vanity, profits, sanity. You know, and so, like, that's true, and like that's how it is for us in our business. And like, you know, I can sit here and say it's all easy, but like, dude, it's there's been some challenging times. You know, like you say, oh, hey, we got money in the bank. It's all this stuff. Like, so maybe you can take a little step back. I agree with that. However, I had that same feeling. I had, you know, a dollar amount in my bank account that I thought I was, you know, I thought we were doing good, you know, and next thing you know, you start getting IRS letters and you're like, oh my God, I owe $500,000 to IRS, when you thought that you already paid everything in, and it was actually an accountant error, not a business error. So where's the accountability for the accountants? Well, good question. You know what I mean, man? So like, you know, I would say is like anybody I've heard buddies bragging about money and this stuff, and I'm like, dude, take a third, take half that, take 3/4 of it, and go put it somewhere else and never even worry about it, you know, because rainy days do come, man. Yeah. And they stick.
Yeah. Well, that's what, like, as you mentioned, like, I've learned from the experience is, like, in the past, I'd go figure out, well, what could I potentially, like, what new mastermind could I join, or do I need this or do I need that? And I'm not, and now it's just like, you know, part of me is just like, you know, we have this there, less is more. We know the goals that we're trying to get to by the end of the year and next year, and we don't need to go chase and go do all the stuff, because that was where I got caught up before, where it was like all these people that were quote unquote in my corner were telling me, you need to do this, you need to do that, mainly because it benefited them. And I was paying them to be a part of their community or whatever. And I was like, okay,
follow the money.
For the last, you know, 2 years now, right? I haven't had, up until a couple months ago, I haven't had a coach, haven't had a business coach, haven't had any other type of coach. About 5 months ago, I hired Kevin, who's my business coach. And I've actually built multiple agencies now, bigger than whatever he's built himself. But he's exited companies. He's been a COO inside of a large marketing agency. But it's really about the processes and system. I'm like, I'm hiring you for this one freaking thing. Right. I don't need the 700 things that every coach talks about, because that's what I said. I said, I go hire somebody that's built X, Y, and Z bigger than me, but I'm hiring you for this one thing right now, and we're going to do it for a year, and we're going to crush it, and we're going to go do it. I started working with Jose again as of a month ago. But I needed that time out of all the different masterminds, of all the different consumption of all the information, because I'm like, one, it's too much. But two, I said, like, you get on the back end of it, where I've been in a lot of those groups, you end up getting the back end of it, and you're like, holy shit.
Some sour dudes back there.
Some sour dudes passing along some of the information that they're not even doing, that they're in. And I'm not saying, hey, everybody's going to share everything on social media. But if you're coaching and teaching somebody, hey, go run this play, go do this thing, and on the other end, it's like, oh, shit, they know that that's not the right thing to do. I don't know how people sleep at night. But I had to go through that to say, okay, when I do this again, I'm going to get super hyper-focused, worry more about myself and my team and my clients than trying to go do all the other stuff.
Yes. Well, and I think that's what it is. There's a coach for health. There's a coach for finance. There's a coach for fitness. You know, it's like everything that's out here. Next thing you know, you look at your P&L or your subscriptions and stuff. You're like, whoa, dude, there's like 12, 15 grand a month here. And like, I don't even have, sorry, like I just canceled on Adam twice because I didn't have time, you know, and it's just like, what are we doing? And like, you know, for me too, man, like people listening, I think the coaching industry, I've always had this like urge to coach, but like, dude, I don't know how you do it. I like sitting on a Bobcat. I like sitting on a machine. I have no desire to sit behind a computer. And I've told my wife, like, what I know, what I think I know, or what I'm aware of, and going on a computer, I can make probably multiple times more what I'm making, to be honest with you.
Yep.
but it's not me. And so when it comes to coaching and all that stuff, it's like for myself too, like I kind of stepped back out of some coaching and like everybody was, you know, this, that. And like for me, it was not working. You know, I'm kind of stepping back here. It's coming to my mind as you had said, what was the difference of like for you is like coaching, like I did some like nervous system work. And it's like, dude, I mean, I'm tight. You know, I'm always constantly going and just always, you know, where's the bear at? Where's it going to attack? You know, so it's hard to live your life like that all the time. You know, you're always looking around like where's it going to come out and smack me and, you know, just crawl, you know, just hit me. And so, you know, I started to kind of do more of that work. And when you're able to take some stuff off the table, off the plate, it allows room for just what you want, you know, the dessert you want, the stuff that tastes right, that tastes sweet. And so I did try different coaching, dude. I tried this. I thought I was going to go do this, spent tens of thousands of dollars on this stuff, dude. And I'm like, this is not me.
Yeah.
This is not me. And it was like, I paid to understand a lesson that this is not Todd.
Yeah.
In this season of life, this ain't me, you know? So like, I think that's what it is. But you know, for you, I love how you're saying like working with Kevin, dude, like niching down to one thing. That's, you know, I'll probably take that from you on that. Cause I do feel like when I have worked with a couple coaches, it's just like, well, what are we doing today? It's like, well, wait, dude, like you're the coach. You're supposed to have the playbook. You know what I mean? Like, so.
Well, and I think a couple different things came to mind based on what you were saying too, and kind of my evolution as well. So like when I was not running the agency, I was building up our mastermind group coaching. We still have that, but at certain times I was doing 3 calls a week. Like I was just trying to over deliver wherever I could because I'm like, hey, I don't really have a revenue source. I want to make sure I have all these raving fans. Like I just want to do whatever I can, right? Now we're down to just 1 call a week because I'm like 3 calls a week for me and for them that are inside of our community is too much. But I was doing one-to-one coaching with a lot of agency owners. I had 10 one-to-one clients at one point, and I ended up firing all of them. And a couple of them were getting ready to cancel anyway. But I fired most of them because I said, hey, I did it for almost a year, some of them more than a year. I said, I'm not passionate. Like the money's great, but it's so reliant on me, which sucks. Sucks a lot. And what I also realized is only so many people will actually go and do the work. And that's one of the most unfulfilling parts for me is I give you my entire, like I would have people and I would be like, hey, month-to-month contract, like whatever. I'm not trying to be the coach where it's like, you gotta be doing this a year minimum. And I'd have people like come in, just grab my SOP, like I was giving away everything and just go take it and say, hey, you know what, I don't need it anymore. I'm like, the value isn't going both ways. And then they still wouldn't go do the work. And then they would be like asking me questions even after they stopped paying me. I'm like, man, you're not going to get the same level of support from me. But what I also realized is do I believe that I could be a very, very good coach if I was just focusing in and on one thing inside of a marketing agency like Kevin's doing for me? 100%. But also is the best player, right, is not always the best coach. And so what I realized was I was like, oh my gosh, like I am expecting myself to be at the premier level of coaching because I've been doing what most agencies can't do. And that doesn't always translate. It doesn't always land to people. And then when they don't go to do the work, it makes me feel unfulfilled. So I'm like, I just got to cut this shit out, even though it was like 15,000 in highly, highly profitable revenue a month in recurring revenue. I'm like, okay. So I've had to do different instances, and even on the agency side, we've had to let a couple clients go where it's like, hey, you're treating my team like shit. You're not paying your bills on time. You just suck as a client. Like it's not working. And I never used to do those things to start to create some of that space. But the biggest thing that I've really started to realize where we went down from 2 calls a week down to 1 call a week, and I've really started to clear my calendar more for some strategic things is one of my new managers said this to me and it hit me like a freaking brick was, Adam, you're so good at coaching other people, but you're not spending time with your managers one-to-one. And so I was like going in and doing weekly management calls, and I was doing, more calls with certain directors and things like that. But there was, as we've grown, right? It used to be like I could have a one-to-one with all 7 team members. Now there's 25 team members with more complexity and all this stuff. I had stopped doing those things. And so I'm like, I need to free up more time because some of the best coaching you can do is inside of your own company.
And it'll bring you back probably the same return that you were getting without you being there.
Yeah.
Well, you just said it.
Yeah.
Your profitability, your bank account, your everything. That shows you what you're doing is right. What you were doing was not so right. What you're doing now is more right. You know what I mean? And I think that those are the metrics, the KPIs, and what you're measuring that off of is very important to know. And I think that like what you said, like the book, I think it's Gary Keller, The One Thing. And he just talks about like doing that one thing. And that's something that like I have really started to consider. You know, I'm in trees, real estate, bought a go-kart track this year. I mean, there's, I'm in some little things here and there, but like I've really started to wonder that too. Like, man, if I just niche down to one thing, man, and just put all my effort, energy into it, got the right coaches just to strategically help me build, knowing what I know now, have the cash available to do it. I always wonder that too, man, because like, I mean, I know you're burning on like several ends, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's challenging, but I like what you said about, you know, hit you like a brick. Hey, man, you're giving all them people the love, and we're not getting the love, and we're you're paying us to love you. You know what I mean? So that's hard, you know. And so I'd say in that too, like, I mean, good for your manager to call that out. That's great, you know. And I think that just goes to show, man, where you water the grass. I mean, it's such a cliche, you know, metaphor, but it's like the grass is greener where you water it, you know,
100%.
like it is. And so, like, if you want your 25 team members to produce, yeah, and maybe sometimes you realize, oh shit, I'm so loose with them that I don't even need these 5 guys. They're just sitting out here playing on their phone because I'm so disconnected with them, and that can be a problem too. And like for myself, I never cared about growing big. I always wanted strong. So like we're strong, our P&L's strong, our profit's strong. If I went and added a couple more crews on, it's going to get sloppy for a while. Maybe that's hindered me a little bit of my growth, but I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
So like I just keep rolling that way, and you know, you guys automations and stuff, but your guys' game's a little different, man. You got a lot of touch points with people.
Well, it's one of the other things too is like a bunch of the people that I've been like, I'm going to speak at the Go High Level conference next month, and then speaking at another SEO conference later this year, and then another one next year. And they're all like asking me all this question, like, how big are you going to get? I'm like, no, I'm literally trying to grow by a couple more clients by the end of this year, and we're in September. We'll get there. And then very, very small growth next year. I said, because I know my numbers and I know my profitability. And I've already done all the crazy shit that I know that I don't want to do.
Yes.
And it would cause more chaos.
Dude.
It would cause more chaos for myself, for my team, and I just don't want that. And so for the people that are just chasing the vanity metric of X, Y, and Z, or because somebody else told you to go do this time around, it's been the first time where I've had like, it's not that I didn't have goals before, but I had goals tied to reasons as to why and what I wanted, as you mentioned before, my life to look like. If I go and try to do what we did this year in growth and go do it again next year, it'll be destroyed. But I didn't necessarily have that vision of like, okay, hey, now I know clear as day where I'm going the end of the year, where I'm going next year, and my team knows it too. It's the same number we freaking talk about, and it doesn't change.
Yeah.
That's the thing that I felt like I was doing a lot before. I was like, oh, hey, we got here, and now we're going to keep going. No, it's like, no, you already know where we're going in 2026. They've known that since July 1 when I told them that. So I think a lot of it is about also making sure your team is very, very clear and understanding what the goals are, where they fit into that, and being more transparent with it. A lot of my employees have came from different agencies where it's like they've done a bunch of layoffs, they fired people, they went out of business, done all this stuff. I'm like, hey, like, have
They're
you guys
jaded on that a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I said, have you guys ever seen a P&L? You guys want to know where we're at? They know every freaking number, and they're blown away by it. I'm like, I have nothing to hide. And so it is kind of that thing where I have to earn their trust.
Sure. Just
because they came over doesn't mean all of a sudden, like, yes, they're grateful for the opportunity, but I'm like, hey, what can I do to go improve the lives of these people?
Sure.
So then that way we have higher employee retention, they do better for our clients and all those different things. So that's been an eye-opening thing for me. But going back to one of the things that you mentioned as well is just like, hey, that like one thing. What I realized, so obviously I started the auto glass company myself with a person back in 2021. I was the 100% owner, the CEO, like everything, right? And we didn't grow for almost 2 years because like texts are calling me, hey, Adam, I need to take off today. And I'm like, I couldn't even go out and repair or replace windshield. So my uncle came in, started to invest some money and became an owner with me. And then his girlfriend now manages the company. And we've started to basically get all these techs over from every other auto glass company and Safelite. So we have now a very, very awesome foundation where it's just kind of that thing where it's like we know our numbers, we know all the things. we're profitable. We've made more money than we've ever made before in that business. But I realized I tried to go do everything multiple times, right? So it's the digital marketing company. It's Adam owns 100% of the auto glass company. Now with the new partnership that I was telling you about earlier, one of our, we rebuilt their website. We're doing their SEO and their ads. They do outdoor lighting up in Long Island. They wanted to create these other businesses, roofing, hardscaping. And I said, hey, they came to me with the opportunity, but I said, hey, that sounds appetizing to me because it's not me starting a roofing company. It's not me doing that thing. It's me playing the marketing role and just doing my piece of the puzzle for that long-term equity and growth versus me saying, hey, I'm going to go start this other thing. And now I used to think it was cool. I'm the CEO of 2 different things. What the fuck does it matter? It doesn't matter,
dude.
Yeah, you're like
when you're everything to everyone and nothing to yourself, nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
So that piece for me has been big. It's like just go find areas of opportunity where you can just play your role.
Your zone of genius.
And then also it's nice because in that instance, like my team's just playing the role. So I get to use my assets from the marketing company, the team, the resources, everything to go build us equity in another company. And I'm not doing freaking everything.
That's and like how you've kind of done that with that is kind of how I've taken trees into real estate and have allowed me to parlay the equipment, the land clearing. You know, like I bought a go-kart track, did a bunch of land clearing, did a bunch of stuff. Like everybody's like, why would you buy this go-kart track? And there's all these mergers and acquisition gurus online, preaching buy boxes and all that stuff. And the buy boxes is important. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that I've had multiple of these people. For some reason, I keep getting tagged for. My number keeps getting put out there. Hey, call Todd. He knows. And what I realized is that I've built businesses. I haven't just bought over mom and pop's business. There's a difference, man, between building a business, buying a business, and taking over a business and improving it, you know? And so like, that's how I've always been, take one thing and how can we parlay it to others? Like you're able to use your assets to create more assets. And that's beautiful. And that's how I've done it. And that's what I always look at, man. Like, my buddy and I were doing a bunch of clearing down there and I'm like, dude, what would this have costed? Like, what would you have bid this out? He's like, probably $200,000, And I'm like, and we had $16,000 in our time on some Bobcats. Like, and we love that shit, sit on Bobcats. I'm like, more dump trucks, bring them on, I'm like, as far as away from that computer as I can be, the happier I am. You know what I mean? And so that's how it's always been for me. But like, I think that is what's important in business too. I see a lot of guys, I don't like these words, but I will say them because I don't give a shit what your net worth is. I don't care about that. If you're a good person, dude, you're a good person. It doesn't matter to me, but it's like your main business can make you successful. Like trees made me a millionaire, but then allowing trees to do this plus real estate on paper makes you a multimillionaire. Yeah. So it's like, it's cool. And like when everybody says all these words, what does it mean, dude? It doesn't. It doesn't mean shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like what, everyone wants to tout it, the Instagram, the TikTok, the Facebook flex, you know what I mean? It's bullshit, dude. I don't care about any of it, so just be smart, man. Take your main thing, focus on it, grow it, focus on the one thing, and then figure out how to take your zone of genius and share it or plug it in, as you said, not throw it out there and keep starting the same thing, over and over. But I think that's just, man, that's just, that's business, man. We're just learning, and it's just, taking a sidestep from that too is like, the more we do to that, the more it takes from our family too, man. Yeah. We can sit here and talk about business all fucking day, dude, all day long. But then what really gets in the feels and really vulnerable is when you start talking about the family and yourself. It's like everyone talks about this business shit. Everyone's all business, money, profit, P&Ls. And it's just like, how the fuck are your kids, man? How's your wife, bro? How is she?
She's great. Yeah.
Good.
She gets to stay at home, loves being a stay-at-home mom. Obviously, the transition, I think, for what I had to go through last year had a massive impact just on her, too.
Yeah,
like, that was
this is the shit people don't see, man.
That was the hardest part of having to go through that lawsuit, having to start over. And to your point, like, before Murphy was born, I said, hey, I got, like, from 2020 to 2023, basically from the time I went full time to the time I started, or to the time Murphy was born, I was on like a rampage of like traveling all over, going and doing all the things, starting all this different stuff. So I said, hey, I'm going to go do all of this. So then that way, when we have Murphy or whatever,
the foundation
is built. And I made that strategic play at the time that I thought, hey, I'm going to go, instead of running my own business and being a franchise, I'm going to go parlay this asset of that franchise plus some capital, and I'm going to go be a partner in a business that on paper was supposed to support this next level of me being the husband, me being the father that I want to be. And that was the reason as to why I made that move. And then, of course, it ended up being a shitstorm, and you go through a lawsuit, and then you have a non-compete that you can't really do a whole lot. And there were so many different issues of how I had to go through. So then I had to go to my wife again and say, hey, like, we've lost it all. And obviously, like, that's not a fun conversation to have, but I'm going to also have to go in and rebuild this.
I got to dig this fucker up and rebuild it.
Yes. And so the difference was, I think this time around is obviously I was starting from experience, not zero. She had obviously given me years and years of support, but saw that, like, hey, Adam went through all of this to get to where he's at right now. If he stops now, because there were so many different people that, hey, Adam, just like come partner with us or come work for us, be an employee and all those different things. And like, I was very close in multiple instances to just
they saw you beat up. They wanted you.
It would have been way easier for me to go do that. And so she said, I like, she was very, very vocal. Like, I don't think you want to do that. And so the last, like, 2024 as a whole of a year, like, I don't even know, like, eventually I'll have a book on it one day.
Yeah.
Like, eventually I'll, when those wounds go to scars and I'm able to, like, I am fully over it, but not over it from the trauma and all of that stuff. But to have, like, luckily Murphy was so young, but like to have my wife have to go through that with me, deal with everything, know everything that was happening, and then me to have to show up every single day just being like, yeah.
Well, every day you want to get up, she's got to pat your ass, give you a kiss, say, love you, baby, go get it, and that's hard to do.
So she's doing much better now. But that aspect of it, like the impact it takes on your family to get to where you want to go, dude, and to them still have you have support for you, is something that I don't think most people realize, of like, hey, like, there's a whole other engine behind that's really keeping this whole thing going.
Well, and like what I would say is like, is your partner a propeller or an anchor? Or is she the rudder? There can be different, maybe you're the propeller, you're pushing forward, she's controlling that ship where it's going. Because we're forward thinkers, dude. Like, we're forward thinkers, and sometimes we don't see where we're going, and they see it.
Yeah.
And when they say, hey, that dude's a bad dude, that's a bad apple, dude, typically they're right.
Yeah, they're
pretty damn right. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a naked eye. You know what I mean? It's a naked eye into the woods, so they can see the bird that everyone's looking for. Like, oh, there it is. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, how the hell did you see that? Because you're standing under and it looking that way, and it's just like, oh. You know, so like, I think that's the biggest thing, man. Like what you're saying, like the spousal support and all that family support, like whatever, is huge. And like a lot of the times the people that we love the most get the shittiest end of us, man. And it's like, we can sit here and talk about profit, money in the bank, doing all this stuff, but it's like, dude, you know, I bounced hard off the bottom, marriage and stuff like that. I mean, we've came close, you know, and it's just because all I want to do is work, and it's every, you know, Sunday, I'm working. I got to do this. I got to do that. Oh, this needs this. And it's just like, they're like, hey, no, like, we need you. And I'm like, yeah, but like, I got to go do that, you know? And they're like, no, but like, we don't give a fuck about that. We don't care about that building, all that rock, all that dump trucks and all that shit. Like, we want you. You know what I mean? And like, that is something that's really just, I'd say, my youngest is, she'll be 4 at the end of the month, and I'll be 32 next month, and or next week. And man, I would say, like, the last couple years of my daughter being young, like, I have taken my foot off the gas, dude. Straight up. Doesn't mean I haven't grown. Yeah. Because I have. Like, if you look at, you know, in business world, we're looking at one sheets and all that stuff, or our personal sheet. Like, my one sheet grows, you know what I mean? So it's like, I am growing in those areas, but like, what I'm most proud about is not my financial one sheet, but my emotional one sheet. Yeah. My EQ, right? And I think that's something that, like, I have worked on, because it's no good to go out and gather all the money and all this stuff and all the time and the team at work, but then not care about the people that it really we're doing it for, right? You know, I'm doing this for you. What do you mean you don't get it? You know, I've said that a million times, and she's like, I get it, dude, but I could be happy in a cardboard box. And I'm like, what? Oh, you don't care about the 10,000 square foot mansion, the helicopter? She's like, no, don't give a shit about that. That's cool. And my wife said something to me years ago, man, that hit me. And it's always stuck with me as right now. She said, Todd, my biggest fear for you is that you're just going to go run so hard and so fast, just blaze, and you're going to end up on a jet at 20,000 feet by yourself. Don't be that guy. And I'm like,
that's heavy.
You know? So it's like, what is it? What are we after? You know, your wife supporting you through that, man. Like, that's a lot. My wife last year going through the, you know, you get hit with big IRS things. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, all this money's gone. You know, you're going into winter, seasonal businesses, it's gone. And you got to explain, like, I don't know what happened here, but for the first time in 10 years, hey, watch what you're doing with that credit card.
Yeah.
Watch it. Because they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, not that it's a, you know what I mean? Not like in a spoil way, but it's like, hey, hold the phone for a second because shit's getting real. So I say that to say, like, dude, we got to make sure that the kids get the best of us, not what's left, you know? And so I feel that, yeah, sure, I'm not doing, you know, 8 figures a year in business and all these gurus. Everybody's doing 8 figures, it seems, you know, and
easy.
Whatever. All good. Yeah, super easy. Second year in, 8 figures, you know, sold to private equity for $100 million the third year. Yeah, fuck off. Anyways, you know, I think that, like, it is so vital, man. And, like, again, that's why I keep saying it is, I've realized that the most important business and work we have is in our home, not outside of it. And I've been trying to really hone in on that. And even for myself, man, I've worked with Jose. I really struggle having fun. I've got back to flying. I mean, my Harley, I was going to ride it out here today, but I didn't have time between another meeting. And, like, I've just started to do that, man. I'm like, fuck it. How many more days have we got left, dude? I could pull out here and get smoked on the way home. I don't know. I'm not going after the material anymore as much as I used to. And I just want to go after the memories. Fuck the material. Give me the memories, have fun, and roll with that, and give our wives the lives that they've supported us in, our kids that, you know what I mean? And that's always hard, man. 13 years old, dude, I got a kid boom, that quick, dude. I'm like, holy shit, dude, I got a high schooler next year. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about buying a new car, and I'm like, we got to keep your car because we're going to have a kid driving in 2 years. I'm like, so, you know, that's where I'd say on all that, man. We got to remember what we're doing this for, you know?
Dude, this has been awesome. It'll be interesting to go watch that episode from 2 years ago and then take a look at this one again, because I think this was a great conversation, one I'm glad that we had. And you hit on a lot of things that, like, one, I needed to hear. So some of the times I obviously ask questions because I'm like, hey, I look at you now, and you can even just tell in the way that you're talking the change and the evolution that you've gone on.
No, thank you.
It's, like, really cool to see it and see the progression, but then to be able to say, like, okay, hey, like, so many of us are going through the same shit, but it's not talked about. Those conversations aren't had. The aspect of us thinking that we're on this, like, lonely island going through it. It's like, no, we're all kind of doing the same thing, but we're only talking about the shit that everybody else wants to talk about. So those are the types of conversations that just need to happen, and it's just been so cool to see your growth, man. So thanks for coming on. This was awesome.
Thanks for having me out, man. Anytime.
Where can people stay connected with you? Obviously, learn about all the different businesses you have going on as well, man.
Yeah, I'm at Todd Liscombe on social media. I'm not very busy with it, dude. Like, I'm a consumer, not a creator. It's something I got to work on. But yeah, at Todd Liscombe. You guys got any questions, hit me up. I mean, I'm happy to help. But yeah, that's what we got. So.
And tell them about the go-kart stuff.
Yeah, go-karts, man. Yeah, interesting. Just, you know, you talk about kids. You know, your kids watch what you do. Real quick story on a go-kart track. The go-kart track's been in St. Charles since 1957. So it was built, like, what's crazy about it is now that you have it, the older people that are like 60s, 70s that are like, dude, cannot believe this place is back alive. Like, here's some pictures when I was
so cool.
8 years old, my dad was racing 100 mile an hour. Dude, like, gives me chills. I'm like, this is so freaking cool.
Yeah.
And just, it's like it's just an old school, just retro, just tried and true old school go-kart track, right? I mean, carts are old, everything's old, but it brings back memories. And like, so how did I buy it, man? Like, this is maybe just a lesson I've told quite a few people that you don't know what's available until you ask, right? Mm-hmm. I drove by this a million times in my life. It's right out of the neighborhood I grew up in, where my shops are, my real estate. Drive by it probably literally 50 times a day at minimum. I'm driving by it one day my daughter says, Dad, hey, can we go ride go-karts? And I was like, nah, babe, we'll go to the farm and ride side-by-sides and shit. I mean, I'm not going to spend $17 on a go-kart, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She's like, well, why don't you go in there and buy it? And I'm like, She's like, you say everything's for sale. All you gotta do is ask. You know what I mean? She's a closer.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so I'm like, you're right. You know, like she planted the seed in like July. So if a couple weeks go by, it comes to August of last year, driving by, the manager's there undoing the gates at the front. And I'm on the phone with my wife and I'm like, hey babe, I'm like, my gut's telling me to turn around. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why, but it's just telling me to turn around and buy a go-kart track. Did I ever fucking think I'd own a go-kart track? No. But so she's like, oh my God, are you serious? I turn around, pull in there. I go, hey man, one question. My name's Todd Liscombe. I want to buy this place. Is it for sale? And he's like, what? Like, this place? I'm like, yeah, man, what the fuck? What's the answer? Yes or no? You know what I mean? You know me? I'm like, I ain't trying to waste your time or mine. He goes, hold on a second. He's like, I'm just the manager. He gets his phone out. Best thing ever. He puts on speaker and he calls the owner and he's like, hey, Mike. He's like, there's this dude here that fucking stopped by and wants to buy the track. He's like, word for word, he says, you tell that motherfucker to stay right there. I'll be there in 20 minutes.
No.
He got there 40 minutes later. We had a handshake. It was done. You know, owner finance, bam, 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 done. You just find the right people that want to sell it. Yeah. So my point on all saying that is like, it's been fun. We've doubled the business. I mean, very profitable business, great cash cow. And it's great because you're collecting, you know, we've had 35,000 people go through there this year, so I'm collecting data. I'm collecting this. There's billboards. You know, you need to get some billboards around there and like all that stuff. So all that to say is like, it's just another single. You know, it's a solid single. It'll keep just bringing in, you know, running the score up and you know, lets my daughters there be a part of the community and all that stuff. And so it's been fun, man. It's
so cool.
It's been a different flavor because I'm working with high school kids. But you know, it's and I've got a manager there. You know, it's not running me. I'm running it. And so it's been cool, man. You know, it's been a good different flavor of like a retail business versus the trees and like seeing what I like when I get back into retail. I don't know about that, but you know, it's all right. So awesome. That's what we got. So if you're in St. Louis, St. Charles, man, shoot me a message. Come ride some go-karts and bumper carts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, thank you, Todd, and thank you for everybody that listened or watched this episode. Also, go back and watch the previous episode. You can find it on both the podcast platforms and YouTube. Just type in Todd Liscombe. You'll see the episode from 2023. You'll see the episode that's coming out now. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our channel, like the video, comment, leave some thoughts and feedback, and then leave us a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice. It definitely helps us move the needle, get this information out to more people, just like the great conversation we had today with Todd. So thanks again for listening and or watching. We'll see you next week. And remember, authority isn't built overnight. It's built over time.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. We sure do appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're subscribed to the show wherever you consume podcasts. This way you'll get notifications as new episodes become available. If you feel so inclined, please leave us a review. We sure do appreciate it. Until next time, friends.